What's up, everybody? Blackjack Eagle here, and after months of me not posting full-length Fallout content, I have finally something to talk about when it comes to the Fallout franchise. And today, I'm going to be talking about the backstory or the lore of a unique 9mm handgun that you encounter in Fallout New Vegas called Maria. Now, both the 9mm handgun and Maria are indeed copies of the Browning High Power in real life, and Maria mostly stands out because it's gold and engraved, and it has pearl handles of the Virgin Mary, which is not only Jesus' mom, but in Latin, Mary means Maria, which is the namesake of the gun in the first place. Now, I know a lot of you have questions like, where did this gun come from? How did Benny obtain it? How did it get golden engraved? And of course, who even made this gun in the first place? And we're going to put all the evidence together piece by piece in this whole entire video. And let's pretty much get on to it and figure out what Benny has to say about Maria.
Got what you were after, so pay up.
You're crying in the rain, Pally.
Guess who's waking up over here?
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig? You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
So what did Benny mean by an 18-carat run of bad luck before proceeding to just shoot you in the face in the beginning of the game? Well, it's pretty obvious. He stated the amount of gold that was put onto the gun Maria itself, and since gold is measured in carats, 24-carat gold is pure gold with no other metals. Meanwhile, 18-carat gold contains 75% gold and 25% other metals, which is understandable for a handgun because, of course, in order to withstand the pressures of the bullet, it has to be able to have steel. Otherwise, if you put too much gold onto a gun, and since gold's a very soft metal, you'll just end up blowing up the gun because it'll have too low of tolerances if you put gold into important places like the barrel. But how do you get the gun gold-plated in the first place? Well, you have to mix certain chemicals with a machine just to get it gold-plated. And if you mix the wrong chemicals with your steel slide off the gun, or if you don't have that machine, you'll just end up rusting the gun instead of getting it gold-plated. So that explains Maria being gold-plated, but how did Benny get this gun in the first place? Well, we have to look at his backstory just to figure that one out. And in order to figure out Benny's backstory properly, I'm going to go ahead and let TK Mantis into the mix and let him explain how did Benny turn into the head chairman at the Tops Casino. And don't worry, I'll go ahead and leave the original video in the description below and give him credit where it's due. And let's pretty much get onto it and show TK Mantis' part.
Before House would overtake Vegas, Benny called the ruins home, with his gang, the Mojave Boot Riders. Like many of the nomadic tribes in the area, the Boot Riders held a close community and did well for themselves. Overall, the group enjoyed the tribal life and the freedom that came with living like nomads. The Boot Riders were in for a major change, and it would come in the form of a wandering Securitron. The robot approached the tribe but was dismantled in a minute flat. Feeling confused but accomplished, the Boot Riders would settle in for the night, all wondering what exactly the deal with the robot was. By the time the sun came up the next day, the Boot Riders were approached by 20 Securitrons. This, of course, opened the door to negotiations with Mr. House, who offered everything a tribal could ask for: food, shelter, and even medical care for the price of settling down in the Tops Casino, renovating it, and helping his vision of a brighter New Vegas come to fruition. And rebranding the group with suits and ties, making them the chairman. The Boot Riders as a whole were against this idea. They had become accustomed to wandering the Mojave and the freedom that came with it. Late nights around a campfire with nothing but the big emptiness of the night sky above them. The idea of trading that in was not only unappealing to some, but downright scary to others. Bingo, the leader of the tribe, was most vocal about this change. This is not a change he wanted to see in the group. Benny, however, saw an opportunity in this. The potential of New Vegas was not lost on him. Beyond the bright lights and the seedy underbelly were power and control. Security the likes the tribe has never had. If food, water, shelter, money, and medicine weren't a problem, that would give the tribe a better chance at securing their own wealth, and, more importantly, to Benny, his personal wealth. This, of course, led to a clash. Bingo was the boot rider leader and the strongest of the tribe, but this didn't stop Benny from arguing with him about this decision. Bingo had heard enough and challenged Benny to a knife fight. The winner would be the tribe leader and in turn make the call about House's offer. It took one swing from Bingo before Benny would use the leader's lack of speed to his advantage. Benny plunged a knife deep into Bingo's neck, killing him and thus becoming the leader of the boot riders. Now, in control of the tribe, Benny would make the call to take House up on his offer. The tribe would move to Vegas proper and take up shop in the Tops. As the renovation moved along, Securitron started to leave boxes containing suits, ties, the whole getup. They would also inform the group that they would now be called the chairman. This didn't sit well with everyone, but Benny was able to get them to accept the new ways.
When looking into Benny's backstory, we have found out that Benny was originally part of the tribe called the Mojave Boot Riders, and he overheard Mr. House's offer on moving the tribe into the Tops Casino, and in order to do that, he had to overthrow the tribe's leader and become tribe leader himself to move his tribe into the Tops Casino and turn them into the chairman we see in Fallout New Vegas. And they got everything they pretty much needed, which is food, water, medicine, money, and of course power, which is what Benny wanted. What does this have to do with Maria? Everything. You see, Maria is not a normal handgun. Maria signifies the power Benny had for him being a high chairman at the Tops Casino. The price of Maria shown in the Pip-Boy even shows that. Maria's price is 999 cats, which if we put that into perspective on how much that is in real life, a glass bottle of soda today roughly costs around $2.50, meaning that you get one bottle cap in Fallout New Vegas. And when doing the math for the actual price of Maria, we calculate $2.50 and multiply 999, and we would get $2,497.5, roughly $2,500, which is a pretty accurate price on how much Maria would cost. And I know that my math could be off, but all I know is that math is just mental abuse to humans. Point being, there is no evidence suggesting that Mr. House gave Maria to Benny as a gift, and Benny more than likely used his money and power to put it all together for him. Now, in our first piece of evidence, we have found out that Maria ended up being gold-plated because someone used special chemicals that require a machine to gold-plate Maria properly. And in our second piece of evidence, we have found out that Benny received Maria due to him becoming a high chairman of the Tops Casino. But for our third piece of evidence, we are going to figure out how Maria got engraved and what type of engraving she has. To find out, we have to talk about the two types of engravings, of course. Now, the first type of engraving is hand engravings. Hand engravings are done with hand tools, and they take hundreds and thousands of man-hours, but they are worth it, as in the gun's price will end up exceeding higher than its actual value because no one's able to replicate the engraving, of course. But the major downside is, like I said, hundreds and thousands of man-hours, meaning that it pretty much is more expensive than laser engravings. So that's hand engravings. Now, the second type of engraving is laser engravings. Laser engravings start off on a computer where someone draws out all the etchings or engravings onto the computer first, and then later on they proceed to put it on a machine where it laser engraves all of the drawings that you want to put on a steel slide, of course. Now, laser engravings are really good because they're very cheap and they take a lot less man-hours. But the main differences between hand engravings and laser engravings is that laser engravings copy each other and overlap. Meanwhile, hand engravings can have hiccups here and there on one side or the other of the gun because it's hundred thousandths of an inch you can miss. Another difference is that engravings on hand engravings don't really copy each other and they end up being different in their own way sometimes. Meanwhile, laser engravings are 100% copied on both sides of the gun and they are precision made. Meanwhile, hand engravings are not precision made. And that's the main difference. Now, what type of engraving does Maria have, you may ask? Well, it's pretty obvious. Maria has a laser engraving, as in if you look in the front part of the gun, the engravings are copying each other. And if you look in the middle part of the gun, the engravings are overlapping and they're pretty much going hand in hand with each other at hundred thousandths of an inch. And if you were to look on the middle part of the gun, the engravings are also copying each other where the hammer is off of the gun near the sights. And on the left side of the handgun, it's doing pretty much the same thing where they are copying each other and they are overlapping. So whoever put Maria together by gold plating it and engraving it had all these machines and had the money to do it in the first place. So in our 3 pieces of evidence, we have found out that Maria ended up being gold-plated because someone had the machines to gold-plate her. And we have also concluded that Maria was not given to Benny as a gift from Mr. House, as in we have found no evidence of that. But we do know that Benny has the money and power to get someone to make it for him. And we have also figured out that Maria was laser engraved because someone had the machines to do that. So for our last question, we will ask ourselves is, who made this gorgeous handgun we see in Fallout New Vegas? And if we look on the left side of the handgun, it's pretty obvious. So looking on the left side of Maria, we see a stamping that says crafted by MMA Guns Manufacturers. If you're wondering who these manufacturers are, they are the same gun company that makes the normal 9mm handgun we see at the beginning of Fallout New Vegas. And since Maria is the unique version of the 9mm handgun, they share one thing in common, which is of course the stamping. It says crafted by MMA Guns Manufacturers. So tying all the evidence together, it all makes sense now. MMA gun manufacturers had the money and the machines to put Maria together for the gold plating, the laser engravings, and the pearl handles because they had the original blueprints to the 9mm handguns we see in Fallout New Vegas. And they also had the money and resources to do this because of the NCR contracts they acquired for the 9mm handguns. And it ends up being apparent that every time you step into NCR territory, you will see at least one 9mm handgun. And this is apparent because if you go in the NCR Correctional Facility, since it was part of NCR territory, the powder gainers are all using 9mm handguns. So it all makes sense now. Benny went to MMA gun manufacturers after becoming a high chairman at the Tops Casino to represent his money and power that he had. And he ordered Maria to be gold-plated, laser engraved, and had pearl handles, of course, with the Virgin Mary on it. And there is more of a story to guns than we really think there is, I guess. And for the last thing we gotta talk about regarding Maria is, of course, why did Benny decide to name his gun Maria, and why did he put pearl handles of the Virgin Mary on the gun, of course? We will truly never know about that because Benny was never said to be religious, or there's just no evidence suggesting that he ever was religious. And if he was religious, then it was more on the quiet side of things where he never told even a single soul about it. This is only speculation on what I think, but Benny may have been religious in his past and he decided to pretty much have MMA gun manufacturers to put it together in the image of Maria because he was at one point Catholic. This is all speculation. I'll just pretty much let you guys talk about it in the comments. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed me putting all the evidence together. And don't forget to like and subscribe and maybe comment in the comments section below on the next gun you want me to do lore of next. And don't forget to check my social media in the links of the description below. And that's pretty much it, everybody. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.